I have a question for you, Stephen.
Yeah.
In this situation, if you are in Wendy's shoes, would you rather have a knife or would you rather have a bat?
I'd rather have a gun.
Okay, those weren't. That's not an option. Yeah,
A
freak.
bat? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Flip the Scripts. My name is Stephen Nieman.
And I'm Ankit Madhira.
And this week, we're hopping back to The Shining Part 2. Yeah. Last week, we talked about the Part 1. We talked about The Shining and the things and Danny Boy, and he has a secret guy named Tony and all those things.
Yeah, Tony apparently lives in his mouth in the film, because why
cool
not?
Things. Yeah, cool things. We're very happy with the adaptation right now. And so,
ladies and gentlemen, this is an adaptations podcast. If you're new, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about part 2 of The Shining. So from where we left off, which to the end. But like always, at the beginning of part 2s, I always ask Ankit a question, and he answers the question. And this week I didn't tell him what it was, so he's gonna
I'm really scared. I'm not looking forward to this.
No, I think this question is really great. All right. If you got a new job and your job was to be a caretaker of a hotel like the Overlook over the winter, and you had to be there all winter, who would you bring, or what would you bring?
Well, I mean, I'd probably bring, musical instruments.
Cool.
Unless they had some that they were going to leave at the hotel, and then I'd use theirs.
Yeah.
I would, in this day and age, I'd bring my laptop, I'd bring my phone, all of that whatnot.
You'll
right?
have no signal.
What?
You'll have no signal, just like in the book.
I have no signal? Okay, one thing in the film, though. How did they still have TV signal if everything, the phone lines were cut down?
I was going to talk about that in this part. They shouldn't have TV signal, but fine.
Okay. Cool. So I just don't have power? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, you have power. You just don't have signal.
Okay, fine. I'd still probably bring my Switch, because I can play offline video games. Look, I need some form of entertainment. I'd bring maybe, I would adopt a dog, because I don't currently have a dog, but I would adopt a dog and bring a dog with me, or maybe even 2 dogs. There's nobody else currently in my life that I would want to put up to that torment, so I'd probably just go on my own.
So I was thinking about this too as well. Jack could have just gone on his own. It would have been fine. I think for me, I would have just gone on my own as well, and probably bring Bruce or Grace with me. That way I have something there to communicate with. And while I try not to have too much cabin fever, I go on a walk every day to prevent cabin fever, which is something they don't do in the film at all. They don't leave the premises that much.
No. I don't know. That seems like the stuff that I would take. I mean, musical instruments is the number one thing on that list.
I think I'd bring a book. I think a book would be really fun to bring.
I feel like I would bring multiple books. I would just be great, what are all the series that I've wanted to read?
Yeah.
And it's great, I need one book for every 2 days. And there you go.
Also, I think in the modern day, we've gotten so good at snow plowing. I don't know if something like this would happen again. My dad was saying to me, this is based off a true story. Somebody was a caretaker in a hotel and killed some people, and that's what the book is based off of. Obviously, this is based off the book, so there you go. True story.
Oh! I thought there was more to that story. Not The Shining book was based on. Okay, cool, sure. I'm caught up to speed.
Cool. So let's get back into the adaptation, because we're already 4 minutes into our episode.
It's an adaptation? Are we sure? Because I feel like we're using that term very loosely these last 2 weeks.
Every week it's been loose. I don't know what you're talking about.
Some weeks have been significantly better. Even I will even give songbirds and snakes better.
Fair. So Jack then decides he's gonna have some alcohol. So he goes into the gold room, which, by the way, there is no gold room. There's just the Colorado Lounge in the book. But fine, we do want to have another room. That's fine. So he goes into the gold room. I thought it was
the cold room.
It says gold.
I'm not gonna lie. Every single time I read that sign in the film, I read the G as a C.
That's okay. We all make mistakes. So the gold room, the gold room. It's a cool room, and he walks up to the bar, and at the bar there's no alcohol, and then he closes his eyes, and here comes Lloyd, and he goes, "Hi, Lloyd." And Lloyd's a really interesting character.
Say, this scene and like just the interactions that he has with Lloyd, amazing acting by Jack Nicholson. I mean, amazing acting throughout the film from him.
Yeah.
But like,
and I would say this is pretty book accurate. He does spend a lot of time with Lloyd talking about some stuff, and Lloyd gives him drinks for the most part.
Yeah.
Here's my issue. Jack asks for a bourbon. Lloyd gives him Jack Daniels, which is a whiskey. In the book, he gets martinis. Why are you clapping?
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you go listen to the episode of Post Finale that has come out 2 days before this, you can hear me and my friend TJ, who is also a friend of Steven's now,
TJ,
gripe about this for, I think, a solid 10 minutes. Might be exaggerating.
It's not a bourbon.
Whiskey and bourbon are similar, but different.
Thank you. And Jack Daniels, I don't think has a bourbon.
No, Jack Daniels is Tennessee whiskey.
Specifically.
Yes.
And that sticker that is on the JD literally has whiskey. I know that sticker because I believe the bourbon is red. Like,
here's the thing, buddy. Here's the thing. Is I paused the film in a way where I could see the bottle. On the bottle, used on the prop, it literally says Tennessee whiskey.
It's not bourbon.
It's not bourbon. And then Jack goes on, because Jack doesn't have any money. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm broke, right? And Lloyd's like, it's okay, like, your credit's fine in this place. Jack goes on to give him a compliment, saying, you're the best goddamn bartender from Timbuktu to Portland, Maine. First of all, that's not a very good compliment. There aren't that many bartenders in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Then I hit play in the film, because this is as I was taking notes for Post Finale, and I pause fairly often for that show, just the nature of that show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what that show is, it's the other show that I host on this channel or other podcasting platforms, where I watch films for the first time because I haven't seen anything. Anyway, so I hit play, and then it was like, or Portland, Oregon. And I was like, well, that's a bit more of a compliment. But then he gets the bourbon poured, and I'm like, no. Lloyd doesn't deserve this compliment because a good bartender wouldn't have made the mistake of whiskey for bourbon.
Yes. So he's there having a nice whiskey, not a bourbon. So they also talk about women. He calls her, I believe, the cum deposit. And
yes.
And then, Lloyd says the line, which is the classic line, women, you can't live with them, you can't live without them.
Now, I have a question for you, because I still don't have an answer to this as we are recording this episode.
Yeah?
Is this where the famous line is from?
That's what I thought when I watched it, but I feel like it's actually from an old 1950s cartoon, where like the guy was like, bam, bam, straight to the moon. But it might be. he's also telling Lloyd about. I'll just continue while Ankit is Google searching. He's
Yes,
also telling Lloyd
you've
about
understood
the
what
time
I'm doing.
he told Lloyd about the time he hurt Danny, about the time he dislocated his shoulder, which obviously we already told about in the last episode where like he didn't dislocate his shoulder, he just broke his arm. But whatever, we continue. Wendy then comes running into the bar, and Lloyd, of course, disappears, and the drink that Jack had also disappears because it's not real. It is completely in his imagination. And Wendy's like, "There's an extra woman in our hotel. She's the one who choked Danny. It's in room 237."
Oh
Cool.
no.
And
Also,
Jack's
I
like,
found notes of the lovely line that we were speaking of.
"Yeah,
So the line, women, you can't live with them, you can't live without them, has been attributed to Desiderui Erasmus? I don't know, guys, I butchered that name, I'm really sorry. He was a Dutch Renaissance humanist and scholar living from 1466 to 1536.
wow." So, what's up? That quote's been around a long time. Good to know.
Apparently, yeah.
So, not that it's true. We don't believe in sexism on this podcast, but
No, I was just curious on the line because we've heard the line a lot.
I've heard the line a lot. So, Jack's like, "No one's in the hotel," and she's like, "Yeah, someone's in the hotel." And so he's gonna go check out room 237. We then cut to Florida with Dick, and he's watching a newscast, and he sees something set by Danny about room 237, and he freaks out. Now, this does happen in the book as well, except Dick is doing something else when he's hit by the thought, and he
Dick's
instantly
like,
is like
out driving or
I
something.
think
He's
so.
like,
And he's instantly like, I have to go to Colorado now. He just goes. In the book, he just goes. In the film, he takes years to go. So then we cut to Jack. Jack's
in the film, I wouldn't say that he takes years to go. They just show us a couple of the things that they don't like. It doesn't make it look like he's actively going right away.
Yeah.
Whereas in the book, you get the sense that he's actively going right away. But like in the film, what he does in the film before he goes, he also does in the book, in the journey of getting there.
Yeah. So we cut to Jack in the bathroom of 237, and there's a woman that opens the shower curtain, naked as can be. This is film only. And she goes up and they kiss and make out, and then it turns into a decaying old woman corpse, and he freaks out and he runs away.
She's laughing maniacally.
She's laughing maniacally. This does not happen in the book. In the book, he walks in, he doesn't see anything, then he turns around and he sees a shadow of a woman, and he runs out and locks the door.
I thought he sees the decaying corpse in that too.
I don't think he sees it. I thought he didn't see it in the book.
Oh, it was definitely described in the book, that's for sure.
I thought it was described when Danny saw it, not when he saw it.
I don't remember who saw it when.
Danny saw it, not Jack.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, usually we're both significantly better at knowing what's happening in the book. This isn't normal, but this book is very in-depth and convoluted at times, and it's hard to keep things straight.
Fair. So he runs out of the room and closes the door. We cut back to Dick trying to call the hotel. Back to Jack telling Wendy he didn't see anything. Jack says the bruises were caused by himself. He's saying that the bruises were self-inflicted. Wendy doesn't want to believe it and says, we need to get Danny out of there. Well, Danny finally sees, Danny's like, while they're arguing, Danny finally sees red rum and more blood. Now, Danny saw the word red rum in the second chapter in the book. This is the first time red rum's said in the film.
Yeah, also, in the book, how did none of the adults who knew that he had seen the word redrum put together what the word REDRUM is?
Well, because they thought it meant his drinking, that Jack's drinking red rum.
But no one, and you're telling me nobody, not, Wendy, not Jack, not the doctor, not, there were a couple of other people I think that also knew. Nobody was like, when spelled backwards, it spells a very specific word.
Fair. So Jack says, I'm not going to let you fuck this up, and leaves. So then...
Oh, I have the speech written down.
I mean, I'm sure you've read it on post-finale. So if they want to hear you read that
speech...
speech...
it's a fun time.
If they want to hear you read that speech, you can watch the post-finale episode. That's what I'm going to say. Because we got to make sure they watch both. So he goes back downstairs and he hears the ballroom kind of going on. And Dick goes in. Now, the ballroom scene does happen. Now, there's a whole moment of the book where Jack is trying to get his wife to have sex with her and all this stuff. And they finally do, and they hear an elevator going up and down, and that's what freaks them out. And that leads them to understanding there's something going on in the ballroom. But that didn't happen in the film at all. So we just end up going to the ballroom. Jack walks in the ballroom. And he goes up to the bar, and Lloyd's there. Lloyd's like, hey, buddy, here's another bourbon. It's a whiskey. Here's another whiskey. And he gets drinks
Lloyd, back
spilled.
to being a subpar bartender.
Right? He gets drinks spilled on him. And the guy takes him to the bathroom. Yes?
Now, I don't blame the waiter.
No, it was the woman who knocked into him.
Exactly. So just a quick PSA, ladies and gentlemen. If you see somebody carrying a tray of stuff, doesn't matter if it's full stuff, doesn't matter if it's dirty stuff. If you see someone carrying a tray of stuff, and you do not have a tray of stuff, be kind, let the poor person with the tray of stuff through so that they don't spill something on somebody, and then just go on with your day.
I mean, we were both bartenders. I think we both can kind of sympathize for what happened.
Oh, dude, I mean, I explained this on post-finale as well, but it's a fun anecdote, so I'll explain it here, too. My favorite, when I used to work at Mamma Mia the Party in the UK, was when I would be holding a tray of drinks, and I would, get to the table, and I'm like, okay, I need to get the drinks onto the table. Now, for anyone that's confused, Mamma Mia the Party is an immersive theater experience for ABBA. So, people are like, let's dance! Because, randomly, suddenly, money, money, money comes on, and they're like, yay! Which, money, shout out to Fed, who, when I was working there, he played a character called Nikos, and he sang that song beautifully. So, shout out to you, Fed. Anyway, so... that, they would spill the drink, or, because they would flail, I would have to move so that they wouldn't hit it, and then the drink would spill on them, and then they'd get upset, and it's like, well, I mean, this wouldn't have happened if you didn't flail when I was standing next to you with a tray full of drinks.
So, he has all the drinks spilled on him. They end up going into the bathroom to clean him up, and he finds out the butler is Grady. Now, Grady is at the party. Originally in the ballroom, there's a ballroom scene where Jack's at a ballroom. He dances with a woman. He has a really good time. Then he meets Grady. But they decide to make Grady a butler and meet him here. And he's like, I know you. You're the caretaker. And Grady's like, I've never been the caretaker, sir. You are the caretaker. You have always been the caretaker.
And this is book accurate as well.
Yeah. And then he says, you gotta watch out for your son. He's calling someone to come here. He's gonna ruin it all. He's calling the N-word cook.
Yeah.
Which the N-word is said in the book and in the film. So it is.
Don't cancel art for being art. Don't say it in real life, but if it's in the art, don't cancel the art.
Yeah. He tells Jack, you should correct your family like I did. And obviously the way he corrected his family was by them.
No. We can't say that word. It's technically unaliving now because apparently REDRUM is, too temperamental to talk about.
He unalived his family. We have to say unalived. Yes. Otherwise, we'll get banned on YouTube. He tells...
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure we bleep what I just said, please. So we cut to Winifred, planning the escape, and Danny saying "Red Rum" as Tony. And then we cut to Jack finding the radio. He takes pieces of the radio and throws them away. This is similar in the book, kind of. It said instead of throwing the radio piece away, he throws snowmobile pieces away. The radio just doesn't work right now in the book, but I guess they need to make it work.
How did the radio get damaged in the book? I don't remember.
I don't remember the radio much in the book, but I think Jack did something to the radio. Maybe he did both. I don't remember. But that's okay. So Dick finally tries to get a hold of everyone, and he can't get a hold of anyone. He's been trying to get a hold of... He got a hold of the forest rangers who can't get a hold of the hotel. So he says he's going to go to the hotel. So Dick takes the first 8 a.m. flight out of Florida to Denver, Colorado. So Dick is flying to Colorado.
Yay!
Yay! And that, ladies and gentlemen, and all the other genders in between, is where we're going to take our snack break.
Whee!
Hi, this is Stephen. Thank you for watching Co-op Forge. If you like our content, wish to support our editing staff or all, please subscribe to our Patreon and link down below. You'll get bonus footage and many other fun activities out of it. In our description, you'll also find links to our social media, where we'll post about our new episodes. Flip the Scripts is every Friday, Seattle Across the Pond is every other Thursday, and Post Finale is posted every Wednesday. Thank you for watching. Now back to the main episode. And we're back. So, we cut to Jack typing as the plane lands. He's clicking and clacking away. And
that was my very bad typewriter clicking, clacking, ladies and
calls
gentlemen,
this
for
guy-
anyone confused on what's going on.
Dick then calls this guy to rent a red cat, a snow cat. And
does
go up
he?
to the overlook. Yeah.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you listened
Is that not in the Europe version?
Yeah, so if you listen to the last episode, I mentioned that for this film there are 2 cuts. Now I didn't mention it, and I figured I'd mention it when it came up. And it finally has come up. So when I was watching this film for Post Finale, because I watched this film first before I read the book, where usually I read the book and then watch the films. But so I watched the film, and I found the 2-hour, 20-minute version the first time I was trying to watch the film. But then the second time I went back to try to finish off the film, I couldn't find anything but the European version. And so I had mentioned this to Steven, and Steven was like, okay, no worries. We'll see if there's a difference when it comes up. We found a difference.
Cool. So he calls them and he's like, hey, I need a snow cat. I have to go back to the overlook. There's a bunch of assholes in the hotel who didn't do their job. Which is not book accurate at all. He does say that he needs a snow cat, but he doesn't call them assholes. He just says, I need to get there. There's an emergency. There's a kid there who's in danger. And he lets the guy know. The fact that he's just like, Mr. Ullman set me up there because there's a bunch of assholes not doing their job. That's not accurate. Okay. But that's the same.
That's hilarious. I love that. That's great.
So, yeah. So then we cut to a scene and Danny's watching TV. Again, the TVs should not be working. If the phone lines are down, I believe in the 1980s, the TV shouldn't be working. No line should be working at all. So she then tells Danny to keep watching cartoons as she goes to find Jack. Tony responds and goes, yes, I will keep watching cartoons. Because it's Tony, not Jack right now. Tony, not Danny.
Right.
I apologize. She goes to find Jack. And she finds Jack not where he is, where he's supposed to be typewriting. and she finds the papers, and it keeps saying the same things over and over again. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. This is film only. It is creepy, but this
Very
is film only.
creepy. Very
So,
creepy. And one thing to note in this is that it is the same line, but it's always written slightly differently.
yeah. So Jack then shows up and watches her for a bit, and then he goes, "What are you doing? What are you reading?" In his very creepy Jack Nicholson way, and and she's saying, "We need to talk about the safety of Danny." He then chases her up the stairs as she's swinging her back and forth, trying to protect herself. Now, fun fact about this scene, because we are allowed to talk about fun facts. You probably talked about this post finale, but I like to talk about this scene. They filmed this scene over 157 times.
Really?
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick is a major asshole, and he hated Shelley Duvall. He hated her.
I do know that. I know that, like,
and he tortured her.
Things happened on the set that, like, hurt her, but I didn't know what.
And to make her perform this scene the way he liked it, he made them redo this scene over 157 times.
Why?
Because he wanted more of a performance out of her.
I mean, like, he got it.
So Jack catches up to her, and she swings the bat at him and hits him and knocks him out. Now, in the book, I believe he has a roquet mallet with him as well. So he has a weapon. And Danny also helps.
I thought he grabs the. Yeah, Danny helps knock him out. I thought he grabs the weapon later.
I think he grabs the weapon later, but Danny's supposed to help knock him out. It's weird that she knocks him out without Danny there, because Danny's supposed to, like, defend his mom. And so they lock him in the storage, which is supposed to be connected to a dumbwaiter that's connected to their apartment, so they can kind of still hear him when they're in the apartment. But they forgot about the dumbwaiter, so we'll move on. And so he gets knocked out, and he gets locked in the closet, and he's like, "You got a big surprise coming for you. I've made the snowcat not work, and the radio is dead." So, which is true. We then spend a scene of Shelley Duvall, who now has a knife. So she had a bat, now she has a knife. I don't know where the bat went, but she went from both.
I don't know where the bat went, but, like, you know, she dragged him to the kitchen. So, like, fair enough to say that she grabbed a knife.
Yeah, so she has the knife, and she's running to the snowcat with a knife. It's a weird run.
It's a very weird run. I have a question for you, Stephen.
Yeah.
In this situation, if you are in Wendy's shoes, would you rather have a knife or would you rather have a bat?
I'd rather have a gun.
Okay, that's not an option. Yeah.
A bat? A bat, and I'd hide the knives?
No, you get one or the other. I said bat or.
A bat, and I'd hide the knife so no one else can have it.
No, the bat or. You only get one.
I'd have the bat.
Okay.
Distance.
Cool.
So she runs, and she sees the snowcat is missing a piece. She's like, "No!" And then she runs back. And
I know that this is supposed to be like a heart-wrenching, like, oh no, they're trapped scene. I laughed.
Yeah, this scene is weird. Grady then is talking to him through the storage, and he's like, "Hey, you failed. We want you to do better." Now, in the book, it's clear that the house is the manager of the hotel. Like, the hotel is the manager of the hotel. But the hotel kind of has its own feelings. It has its own things. And it manages it. And it's controlling everything. Even Jack. So they want Jack to succeed. They want Jack to stop Danny and Wendy. So Grady being like, "You failed us. You know, you can't fail us again if you're trapped in there." It's like, it's so weird. But Grady lets him out, like, just like in the book, and now he's going to go kill them.
This part never made sense to me.
he gets what the Grady can unlock the door.
Yeah, because up until now, all the hallucinations that we've seen haven't been able to physically do anything other than the lady that strangled Danny.
I don't know.
But we also
So
didn't
then
see that happen.
No, we then cut to the next scene, and it's Dick driving the snowcat through the snow, trying to save them. So there's a lot of scenes we keep cutting back and forth to Dick driving through the snow to the hotel. Is that in your cut?
I did see multiple scenes of him trying to get up there.
Cool. So then
and him freezing.
Then we cut to a scene of Wendy sleeping in her bed, and Danny comes over with the knife. He grabs the knife from her and is like admiring it. And then I thought he cut his finger, but then he didn't cut his finger. It was really weird. I thought he did, but he didn't. And then he grabs the lipstick and he draws REDRUM. Now, some of the letters he writes backwards, some of the letters he writes forwards. I was like, if you're gonna do it, just decide which way you want to write the letters.
No, I actually really liked it because it kind of gives you the idea that one, he's a little taken by the shine right now, right? It's not Danny in his fullest form. And also, he's 5. He might forget which way a letter is supposed to go.
Fair. So Shelley wakes up. She looks in the mirror. Shelley Duvall playing Wendy wakes up to Danny with a knife, grabs the knife from him, looks in the mirror, and sees REDRUM backwards and sees it spells unalive. Because I can't say it on YouTube.
I mean, we can say it. Sebastian's just going to have to bleep it. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to just guess that you are educated people and can figure out what REDRUM spelled backwards is.
So then Jack has an axe. Now, he doesn't have an axe in the book at all. This is where the book and the film have a completely different ending. So we're just going to talk about the film ending, and then we'll go back and talk about the book ending, because they're so different.
Sounds good.
They're so different. We need to talk about them differently.
Okay, I was curious on how we were doing this. I'm good with this plan. Let's go with the film.
So he has an axe, and he starts slashing at the door of the hotel, of the room they're supposed to be staying in, and he breaks in, and Shelley Duvall, Wendy, and Danny. So I didn't get the name wrong. I just called them by the actor's name. They run into the bathroom.
Stop doing that. Just call her Wendy.
Sorry, Winifred and Danny run into the bathroom and lock the door. And here comes Jack with the axe. And they try to get Danny out the window. They do. They get Danny out the window. And, Wendy doesn't fit through the window. So Jack is trying to get at him. And he's hammering. Okay, meanwhile, in between cuts of...
finish your in between cuts, and then I got a funny thing.
Okay, in between cuts of this, we're seeing the man himself, Dick, riding to the hotel. The hero himself is on his way. And then we cut back to the hotel, and I'm going to stop there to let Ankit say what he wanted to say really quick, and then we'll cut back to the story.
Yeah, so as Wendy's trying to get out of this window, right, we find out that she can't get out because, the window only opens like a quarter of the way, and she can't squeeze out of it. So what does she do? She comes back into the bathroom, just tries to move the window up, does absolutely nothing, and just tries again to go through the window.
So Jack gets to the bathroom door and starts axing it as well. And he looks in the bathroom doors and goes, "Here's Johnny."
Where did this come from? It's not in the book. Was this just improvised and like he? Yeah, I think this is Stanley Kubrick.
This is totally a Jack Nicholson thing.
Did Stanley Kubrick just like hand Jack Nicholson an axe and say, "Have at it"? And then Jack Nicholson just thought, "Hey, this might be funny," and creep out Shelley Duvall a bit more. Here's Johnny.
So he's cut through the door, and He tries to
Stop
open the
ignoring
door.
my questions.
No, I said I thought it was improv. I'm not ignoring your questions. I said I thought it was improv. Then Wendy slashes his hand with her knife because she's in the corner of the bathroom, because that's the best place to hide in a bathroom. You know, there's not other places in the bathroom to hide, just the corner. So
Hey. Might be a dumb place to hide, but you can't deny about the effectiveness that it had in this moment.
that's true. Then Dick lands in the Overlook. And so Dick gets the Overlook and he arrives and they all hear it. And so Jack goes to find him. And they call him, like, he's supposed to have in the book. We're not talking about the book. Sorry. We're film only really quick. So he walks into the hotel and he goes, hello. And he walks all the way through. And then Jack comes out of nowhere and axes him to death. And goodbye, Dick. So Dick gets chopped.
Damn. I liked him. He was great.
Yeah.
Honestly,
good character.
My favorite character.
So Dick is dead. Sad. And
horrible.
Then he sees Danny, who's been hiding, like, in the kitchen area. And he chases Danny into the hedge. And he chases Danny all around. Danny's really smart. He kind of covers his tracks as well. And him and his mom, after his mom sees a bunch of weird things in the hotel, get in the snowcat and they drive off.
Whoa. You can't just skip over the weird things. She sees the blood filling up the hallway that we've been seeing throughout the film.
Oh, yeah.
She sees
a pig
dead
man.
Dick Halloran. She sees a pig man. She sees a man who is sliced down the middle.
True.
In a very nice tuxedo, mind you. Like, he might be sliced down the middle, but he is Grady is dapper.
Yeah. So they hop in the thing to drive off, leaving Jack in the snow to freeze to death. And then we cut to us, and then I'm just going to keep going to the end of the film. We cut from a frozen Jack Nicholson, which looks really terrible in nowadays standards, but looked probably really good in the 80s.
But also, isn't that like a big meme now?
Yes, it is a big meme now. So,
okay.
We cut to a picture in the gold room. Music is playing, and there's a picture of wall of the owner of the hotel, July 4th ball of 1921, and it's Jack Nicholson right there in the front, as if he's always been at the hotel. That is
so many questions.
Film only, not from the book. I don't know what that was. So we're going to go back in time to where we are in the book, and we're going to talk from the book perspective. So Jack is still trying to break into the room where they're at. He has a roquet mallet, and he's trying to break in, and he can't break it. So Danny and his Wendy kind of escape a bit. Then Dick shows up, and Dick and Jack run into each other. Jack beats him almost to death.
Oh, before all of this happens, Dick has an entire confrontation with the topiary lion.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The topiaries, by the way, come alive in the book. They're not alive in the film, but they're completely alive because the hedge doesn't exist.
They're not existent in the film.
Yeah, the hedges don't exist in the book, but the hedges are in the film. You know, because hedges are scary, everyone. You'll get my joke if we ever get to Harry Potter, the fourth one, Goblet of Fire, because I hate the hedge change. Because hedges are not scary.
What do you mean? They're terrifying. They eat you alive.
I will find you. I will find you.
They have wind. You know where I am.
I know. So he almost beats. He beats them almost to death, and then he runs away after Danny, and he tries to kill Danny and Wendy, and he's chasing them with the roquet mallet. And eventually, they realize, oh no, I forgot to release the boiler pressure, which has been a big thing throughout the entire book. So he runs downstairs to release the boiler pressure, leaving Jack, Wendy, and alive Dick. Because Dick is still alive. Danny,
he's beaten up good.
Yeah. So they run out of the house, and because Dick knows what's about to happen. He's like, oh crap, hasn't been released in a while? Oh no. So they run out of the house, and they get to the place where the snowcat is, and they're going to ride it out. and there's an axe there. And Dick, almost controlled by the shine, almost kills Danny with the axe, but controls himself thanks to Danny. It's a cool moment. It's huge. And those three are going to escape. Jack, on the other hand, then we cut to another chapter, and Jack's about to release the dial, and that's when the house goes up. The whole hotel goes and blows up, which I was so
Pretty
excited to see in
explosion!
film. I was so excited to see the hotel blow up in film, but they did not blow up the hotel in the film. So
yeah, no, I really wanted to see it too. After I read the book, I was like, "Aw, we missed out on the Michael Bay scene. I wanted to see pretty explosion. Instead, I got Frozen Popsicle Man."
yeah, so Jack is dead by explosion, not by freezing over, and him and his wife Danny and Dick escape on a snowmobile down to the town, and they live happily ever after. But wait, there's another chapter. There's an epilogue, which I want to talk about. So I know this isn't part of the adaptation, but we can still talk about the epilogue. In the epilogue, Danny is now no longer talking to Tony. Tony's kind of been gone in his life for a while. And Dick and his wife are helping him. His wife has a new job given by Al Shockley, which everyone thought was, people think is weird because why would Al give his...
Not Dick's wife. We're talking about Wendy.
Yeah, Wendy. Wendy gets a job by Al Shockley, which people think is weird because she doesn't like Al, but she needs the job because Jack's life insurance policy will only cover them so far, and they want to save it for Danny's college tuition.
Wow, that must be a time.
So, at the end of it all, everyone lives in the book except for Jack, who dies.
Yeah.
And that, everyone, is... And it's actually ends on a happy note instead of a weird note of the hotel that he's always been there. And that is the end of The Shining, everyone. I know, like, we've only been here for like 45 minutes or so, but
like that's the end. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we do a lot of series on this channel. And while I have recently found out that Dr. Sleep is technically the sequel to this book, it's not what we will be going into directly. We might come back to it down the road, but it's not currently our plan. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do want us to talk about it, let us know. But we still have to finish talking about this. I just wanted to toss that in there before I forget.
So before I tell you what we're hopping into next week, because I'm really excited to hop into what we're about to do next week.
Beautiful. Hold on. We have some discussion about this whole ending. We have some discussion about this whole ending.
Oh, yeah.
Shenanigans first.
So I think the ending's really weird in the film. I don't understand.
I don't get it.
I don't know what Stanley Kubrick was trying to say. Like he's always been at the hotel. Also, killing Dick off is a bit weird because it's like Dick was like the hero of the book, but then he's no longer the hero of the book. He's just a guy who just dies for the sake of Danny and Wendy to live. I also don't get the idea of the hedges. It just feels like a lot of the film was Stanley Kubrick read the book. I don't know if he actually did, but Stanley Kubrick already read the book and went, I could do it better. And I mean, if you're Stanley Kubrick, why not?
I mean, like, fair.
If you're Stanley Kubrick, you can. I mean, I think about it. Back in the day, adaptations weren't as one-to-one adaptations weren't as common as they are now.
Okay.
I think like a lot of films of like adaptation-wise always change something because they could, and that was their thing. And I think like all the old styles, it's very common to have their own version of the ending. It feels like they wanted the mystery of the hotel to be tied to Jack's character, where I kind of like the idea of like, no, Jack was driven insane by the hotel. Not that he's always part
I like
of
the
hotel.
idea that the hotel is its own entity and not that it's connected to Jack. Like, the hotel is its own character.
I also like the idea that used the roquet mallet because it's like for a murder weapon, or tried to, instead of the axe, because I'm like, the axe was Grady. I understand the idea of like the axe being representative of what Grady did, but I like the idea of like, no. Grady is the one who used that, and you are the one who
Jack's
tried to kill
trying to
everyone with
use
the roquet.
something else.
And I like this idea of once he kills them, he's hoping that his life will be like this most amazing thing. And he wants to kind of dedicate his life to the hotel. I think they missed that part. Like, Jack never wanted to stay at the hotel after the summer. Like, he just wanted the winter job and then move on and write something and hopefully get his life back. And he wants to be a teacher again. They also cut the part where like he basically beat up his student, which is how he lost his job. They don't really explain how he lost his job in the first place, which he beat up a student who cut his tires. I understand it's 600 pages and you're trying to do the film in 2.5 hours. So let's talk about the film, the book, and the adaptation. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's rate them 1 through 10, Ankit. So, I also will say this really quick. I understand that Stephen King wrote this book as a snuff book. He really just wanted to like just have some fun, and he didn't really care about if like it made too much sense, I guess, in a lot of ways. Where I think Stanley Kubrick took the film too far.
Sure.
He tried to make it made sense.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, as we're about to give these ratings, we know that this movie is adored. We know that many people love this film. Our opinions are our opinions. If you have a different one, leave it in the comments. We would love to know if you agree with us, if you disagree with us. If you're listening on any other type of podcasting app, send us a message on social media. Like, we will respond to them. So just let us know. Like, we are open for discussion. If you would like to discuss, if you have any sort of gripe with what we're about to rate something as, or if you agree with us, like, we'd just like to know.
Cool. So let's hop in to what would you rate the film as just a film without the adaptation, without the book existing?
Without the book, I'd probably rate it like a 7.
That's what I would say. Yeah, it's a 7. It's a good film. I'm not mad at the film.
No, it's still a good film. I would potentially maybe be willing to go to 7.5. I don't know, but like it's in that range. It's 7 to 7.5 for me.
I would give it a 7.3. Like it's better than some of the other films we've watched on this podcast, and it has a lot of nuance. It's better than
I would say most films that we have watched on this podcast.
Fair. It has a lot of nuance and it's a lot of fun to watch. And if you just want to sit down for 2 hours and 20 minutes and kind of enjoy a version of The Shining that's not a good adaptation, then watch it. It's a good version.
That's your cup of tea. If that's your cup of tea, go for it. It's an enjoyable film. And
cool. Let's hop over to the book. What would you rate the book?
I'd give it a solid 7.7.
See, I'm going to give the book a 5. I didn't really care for the book. Like the book's ideas are great. I like the idea of the book, but I just didn't enjoy it. It's just not my cup of tea. Like, I think that's probably it. Like, it's a 5 as a personal opinion of it's not my cup of tea. It's not my type of book.
No, that's completely fair. Let me rephrase this. I am giving a 7.7 for the audiobook.
Oh.
Because I really enjoyed listening to the audiobook.
Maybe that's the best way to listen to experience it.
Possibly, because when I tried reading the regular book, I kept falling asleep. So the audiobook was very engaging, very fun. And ladies and gentlemen, I listen to audiobooks also at double speed. So like it wasn't as bad for me. I found it very engaging. I found it easy to keep up with. The reason I liked it more than the film is there were more nuances, as we've been alluding to over the last 2 episodes. There's more depth. It feels more like the hotel is its own character that you slowly learn more and more about throughout the book, rather than in the film where it just kind of feels like the hotel is possessing Jack. It kind of feels like the secrets of the hotel are spilling out a bit more and things like that. You learn more about Jack. You learn more about the mental struggles that he has been having. You see more of Danny and what he goes through rather than just he's enamored by this very specific room kind of deal. So that's what I really liked in terms of the book. So the audiobook, because that's how I consumed this novel and this original text, I'm giving a 7.7. If you had me sit down to physically read it, I might also give it a 5 just because I had a difficult time sitting down and reading this one. It just wasn't my cup of tea to sit down and read. I kept finding myself getting distracted and falling asleep to it, but when I listened to it, I was engaged.
Cool. So let's move on to our favorite part, adaptation. Was it a good adaptation?
You're starting on this one because I have an opinion and I feel like you're going to laugh at mine.
I'm going to give it a 4.
I'm going to give it a -8 now.
I just don't think it's a 1-to-1. It's not a 1-to-1 adaptation. There's Stephen King's The Shining. There's Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 2.5. I'm giving it a 2.5.
Fair.
They're just two massively different things. They're not, in the essence, they're the same story. But that's it. Like, on paper, technically it's the same story. You have the same set of characters. If you actually look at anything that happens in the story, other than a few things, I think I can name you 2 scenes that happened from the book that happened in the film. 2 exact scenes that were almost word for word. And that was the first scene with Lloyd.
Yeah.
And the conversation in the bathroom with
Grady.
With Grady.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 scenes that actually come from the book. The other story elements come from the book, but they're so drastically different than how it's done in the book, I can't consciously say that it is the same.
So do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Do you hate us for liking it? Do you hate us for not liking it? Let us know in the comments below. Obviously. So next week we're gonna hop into our first series. We've done movies, we've done franchises, we've done one-shots. This was a one-shot, everybody. We are hopping into our first series. We are doing the live-action Netflix Avatar: The Last Airbender, and we are comparing it to the cartoon. We are comparing it to the cartoon. We are not doing the live-action M. Night Shyamalan movie. Too many people have talked about it.
Wait. You're speaking of something that I don't remember existing. What are you talking about?
So many people have talked about the M. Night live-action Avatar film. We felt like it would be disingenuous for us to talk about it, as we probably say the same thing somebody else would say. But if you actually want us to talk about it, we will probably do a Patreon-only video where we will talk about it, just me and Ankit. So join us on Patreon if you want to listen about that one. But we will be talking about the new Netflix series that came out not too long ago. So there'll be 8 episodes coming out soon. We might take a break in the middle between them, or we might not. We'll let you know. But there are going to be 8 new episodes, 1 episode per week for 8 episodes of the live action, comparing it to the cartoon. And we'll let you know how it goes. So we appreciate you. We like you. We love you. Thank you for watching. If you want to suggest anything else, please do. And we'll see you in next week. We'll see you next week for Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Woo! Thank you everyone so much for listening. If you got this far, you obviously liked the episode. So please hit like and subscribe if you're on YouTube, or follow us and turn on notifications on any other podcasting apps or on YouTube. It helps us out a lot. Thank you all so much, and we will see y'all next week, as Steven said, to get into one of my favorite series of all time. So, see y'all later.
Mine too. Bye, y'all.
Hello, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of Flip the Scripts. Flip the Scripts is created, hosted, and produced by Ankit Madhira and Stephen Nieman. Our editor is Sebastian Hollich, the art is by Kshitija Madhira, and the music is by Sebastian Hollich. If you like the video, you can click to listen to the next part, or if it's not out yet, you can find one of our previous episodes.
Or if you want to check out some of our other content, here's a fun video from another one of our shows.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, comment, and hit that bell icon to get notified of all of our content when it releases.
Subscribe to our Patreon if you want bonus content.
Links to all of our social media and Patreon are in the episode description down below.
Thank you for supporting our content. Come back next week for more shenanigans from Co-op Forge.
New episodes for Flip the Scripts release every Friday, Seattle Across the Pond every other Thursday, and post finale every Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye now.